Hi, this is Ashish R. Bidekar, and welcome to my podcast show, The ARB Show. I'm thrilled to introduce today's guest, George. George is a space engineer with an entrepreneur mindset. He's passionate about technology, innovation, and business. He was a CEO of Spaceway, a company focused on IoT communications and Earth observation. He's currently the founder and CEO of EthiHack, Autonomous Ethical Hacking. He is on a mission to secure technology. EthiHack is a cybersecurity SaaS platform for security testing powered by ethical hackers and AI. It combines automated machine ethical hacking with customized human ethical hacking, allowing tech teams to focus on building rather than testing. He loves to explore ideas, grow stuff, and connect with people. Welcome to the show, George. Do share your life journey and your vision for EthiHack.
Ashish, nice to be here, and thank you so much for the invitation. I'm honored to talk about EthiHack and to share a little bit the vision of cybersecurity, right, for the business. So as you said, I'm the CEO right now of EthiHack. Like, our mission is basically to secure technology progress and digital transformation. And how we do that? Basically, we believe that it's throughout testing that you can prevent cyber attacks. Why? Because if you test a technology, you can identify vulnerabilities, you can identify the fragilities of these systems, and you can patch them and mitigate these vulnerabilities. And if you do that, you will prevent attacks from happening. So what a lot of organizations do right now to protect against cyber attacks is to defend themselves, right? But what we believe is that if you are well prevented, if you know which doors of your house are open, you can close them beforehand, and you don't need to spend so much money on the alert systems, right? So it's the idea of, or you build walls, or you protect better your house. And if everything is closed, the probability of having a cyber attack is very, very low. And we are here for that. We are here for testing you, and we are here for doing that and allowing you to be prevented.
Right, great. So just for giving the audience a bit more context. So if you look, people generally know about hacking when they come up, when it's in the news, right? For example, few days back there was this famous Okta hacking, right? Which also led to a couple of areas. So that's when the general business audience also comes to know. So just for context, what are the kind of companies you are competing against? So is this a space which is also in the same space as the antivirus, for example? I'm sorry, I'm just dumping it down so that it becomes very much understandable by the general audience. So is it like an antivirus solution, or is it like, let's say, like a firewall? What essentially is your solution?
Yeah, thank you. So I will divide this into two questions and two answers. Okay, so about hacking first, and then about like where are we positioned in the cybersecurity ecosystem, right? Like, so about hacking, yeah, you brought that most of the people hear about hacking as the bad guys, right? So hackers are like the criminals. I think the media was really the cause for this happening. But right now, when you hear the word hacker, basically you think about a guy with a sweat, right? Like very shady, and a criminal. But that's not the case, right? Like, hacker for us is like a job, is a profession. So and more than that, is a lifestyle. The idea of an hacker is someone that is creative enough to discover paths different from the ones that the system was built to do. So if you can discover something that shouldn't be done, you are basically hacking. And that should be the broad definition, right? Then, as all the jobs, you have criminal and you have ethical people, right? So and here is the same. So you can hear about the white hats and black hats. You can hear about the ethical hackers and the crackers, for example, right? So the idea is we at ETHIAC, we are at the service of the organizations, right? So usually hackers, they also have this very important job in our society. So what they do, the ethical hackers, they test systems in order to find the vulnerabilities and give them to the organization so that they can prevent attacks from happening, or prevent that criminal hackers to exploit these vulnerabilities, right? And that brings me to the second answer, which is no, we are not like an antivirus, we are not like a firewall, we are completely different. So in the spectrum of cybersecurity, you have two types of security. You have the offensive and you have the defensive, right? The defensive cybersecurity is where you position firewalls, antivirus, SOC systems, right? MDRs, whatever. So all these technologies, they are defensive and reactive. What do? They basically, you install them in your systems, right? And they will be like watching what's happening. So it's like an alarm system in your house. So you put the alarm system, and the alarm, what does it do? The only thing that it does is, if an attack comes in, if a criminal tries to break in your house, it will alert the police, for example, or it will block the attacker, right? So that's what they do. So they are basically there, and they try to react to an attack, okay? The other spectrum is the offensive security. The offensive security is all about prevention and all about proactivity, right? So the idea is, you test your systems, you behave like an attacker, so you put yourself outside the house and you try to break in. If you break in, you will understand and will know what is the vulnerability, what is the path that you used basically for breaking in the house. And if you know this path, you can correct the path, or you can, for example, put there a firewall or put there a system that blocks that path for an attacker to use that path, right? So if like I can break in my home throughout the door, maybe I need a better locker. Or if I can break the glass, maybe I need a better glass, or I need to put like some things to basically protect the window, right? So that's the idea. So we are on the other spectrum of cybersecurity. We are the guys that care about prevention. So if you think about this, and this is a very good analogy about digital as health, you understand that we are like the doctors. So basically we do analysis to the organizations, to the people, and tell them, okay, maybe you have these problems, these are your fragilities, these are your where you are sick, right? So you need now to take this medicine, or you need to do like this action in order to do exercise, in order for you to get better, right? So we are in the prevention side of cybersecurity. Okay, I hope that was clear.
Excellent. No, that was a very good example and a good explanation. So George, as we had discussed, the idea of the show is to request the guests to talk about the top 5 areas in their specific area of expertise. And since now you're focused on ethical hacking, it would be great if you can talk about the top 5 benefits of ethical hacking, and that would be really useful for the general business audience. So over to you, George. What in your view is the first benefit of ethical hacking?
Okay, so I will, more than say the benefits of ethical hacking, I will say also the benefits of ETHIAC, okay? Because ethical hacking, it's a broad topic, and one of the biggest benefits of ethical hacking, I told you before, is about prevention. So ethical hacking allows you to test your systems in a way that you can understand what are your vulnerabilities, what are your fragilities, and correct them ahead of criminals, right? So that's the idea. If you do this, you will not be, or the probability of or to be attacked will be very, very low, right? Because you already took care about your fragilities, okay? That's the first thing. It allows you to be preventive, to be one step ahead of attacks, and that is the ethical hacking perspective, right? Then ETIAC allows you to be continuous on this testing. So one problem that we see about testing is that usually companies do it. The mature companies, because most of the companies don't do testing, the mature companies will do like once per year or twice per year, right? And the problem with this is that right now you have more than 70 new vulnerabilities being discovered per day. So we are talking about vulnerabilities that come out on big vendors such as Google, Apple, Microsoft, wherever. That's why you always see your computer and your mobile phone asking you to update it, because they have vulnerabilities, they patch these vulnerabilities, and then they ask you to update for the new version of security, right? So the problem with doing punctual testing is that if you do one test right now, maybe you are not prevented tomorrow, right? So the idea is, how do you do continuous testing? And that's the second benefit, is about continuity. So we at ETIAC bring you a platform that enables you to do frequent testing, so 24/7 testing your systems, that allow you to be preventive continually. So that's the idea. Then the third benefit will be accuracy. So that's a topic that would bring like one conversation just for that. But the problem with accuracy is that as we have so many vulnerabilities, so many alerts, and you have all these systems, if like someone in security is listening to me, they will understand that there is a lot of alerts right now, like every day. So there is this problem about burnout of information security people, because they cannot address all the vulnerabilities, right? So how can you be accurate, and how can you prioritize these vulnerabilities in order for you to basically address the ones that are more prior and are more severe in case of an attack, right? And that ETIAC allows you to do that. So we have like this proof of vulnerability technology that we kind of understand first what is really impactful, and second, like we can bring the false positives down to less than 1%, okay? So you need to do prevention, so you need to test, then you need to test continuously, and then you need to test accurately, because you are not going to be able to address all your fragilities. If we talk about health again, we know this, like we know that we need to do a lot of things in order to be healthy, but what is the priority, right? It's to do exercise or to eat healthy, right? We cannot do everything at the same time, right? And then the fourth benefit, I would say that it's allows you to basically be fast, okay? So you need to test it fast. You need to be like the most, like security is like a cat and rat game, right? So like you have the criminals that have like automation, they're like attacking everyone, and then you are on the other side. If you are not as fast as them identifying and patching these vulnerabilities, there is no point in doing testing, and there is no point in doing security, because you are going to be always lagging in this race, right? So that's the idea, like you to be the fast as possible. And then the fifth benefit, I think it's how can you do this the most affordable possible, right? So we know that security is very expensive, right? Usually it's not accessible to all the businesses. It's not a top priority usually in the business. We know this, right? Like businesses usually are like more focused on the revenue side, on how they make money, but we need to understand how can we make security accessible to everyone, because like you need to start like worrying about security from your early stage, because any attack could be impactful, could have huge damage on reputation, huge damage on our clients. We are watching that in the Okta hacking, right? Like on Friday there was more than 10% drop in the share price in Okta, and I think it's going to get worse and worse just because of an attack. So how can you bring not security or not ethical hacking to only the big guys and the mature companies, but also to the from a startup to all the way up, right? And that's what ETIAC allows you. So ETIAC allows you to do testing autonomously, automatically at a very affordable prices. Okay.
Excellent. So also you talked about this being a combination of human plus AI. So am I correct in understanding that this is like a platform in which you recruit white hat or ethical hackers and then match them with a specific problem, right? So for example, you sign up an enterprise and then the enterprise has specific areas, let's say it's a bank or a financial institution, and in your portfolio of ethical hackers, you've got folks who have got experience in kind of financial or financial area, and then you kind of do the matchmaking and then do it anonymously or ETIAC. Is that the way it generally works?
More or less. I think it's a bit of what you said, but it works in a different way in terms of the business side. So the idea is we have a platform that combines man and machine. Okay, so the idea is machines are more powerful in terms of continuity because you cannot have a human doing continuous testing, right? So it's more frequent and it's more superficial. So the idea is like the machine will find 80% of the vulnerabilities, but they are not creative as humans, right? So as we said in the beginning, creativity is a part of the hacking, right? So then the man comes in and gives you the 20% of the vulnerabilities that were missing, but with more impact, right? So the idea is like, how can you do the boring tasks and more frequently for the machine, and how can you bring the humans for creativity? How it works is that we have this machine 24/7 testing, and then there is a bank of hours that allows the businesses to do manual testing during the year. So the human comes after the machine and will improve the results, right? So that's how it works. For the part of the manual testing, we are working with white hackers, as you said, that work with us in a freelancing basis. So these guys are like very good, great, very talented hackers that work with Fortune 500 companies and whatever, but they also do some testing on a punctual basis that to improve the machine, right? So the idea is like you have these events, and each event you will have a number of hackers that are trying to test your systems, and then after the event finish, which takes most of the times 2 weeks, you get this report with the vulnerabilities and how to mitigate them, right? So machine and human. How this is interesting and innovative is that as we have everything in the same platform, it allows us to basically feed the machine with the human knowledge. So every time that the hacker, for example, finds a vulnerability that is possible to be automatized, we are automatizing it, right? And this allows to have a kind of collaborative security environment in terms of all of our users. Because if I'm testing you, for example, manually, and then I'm passing them the knowledge to the machine, and now the machine is testing another client, it can get the knowledge, and now it will already protect each other with each other knowledge, right? Without anonymized, of course, but yeah, it's a very interesting environment.
Yeah. So what are the top verticals where you have got traction, and what are the top countries from where you are getting your customers? Because I assume this is SaaS, so it's not it's location independent, correct?
Yeah, it's location. It's very cybersecurity is very difficult on that, man, because it's very difficult in terms of business for me, that I'm a business person, right? It's very difficult to say I'm going after that niche, or I'm going after that industry, or I'm going after that location, because that's the disadvantage, yeah, right? Because it's everyone in cybersecurity. Of course, technology is more important, is more interesting for us, technology companies, right? Companies that have like a technology product or that have gone throughout the digital transformation. That's the companies that we are basically looking for. But it could be in every industry, right? Like technology is in every industry. So right now we have, just to give you a little bit of perspective, we just started the company last year. So we have 1 year just of sales. We have been growing a lot. We are already in more than 7 countries. Okay, most of our sales are right now in Europe, Portugal, Germany, France, but we have also abroad in South America, Brazil, for example, and also on the US, and we have been partnering now with an Indian company as well that is called Ofofo, which is a cybersecurity marketplace. Very interesting guide also to talk. But yeah, we have been moving all around the world in this year, and the objective is to continue internationalizing. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So another thing, if you can share any specific use cases or success stories wherein there was this company which was not, which kind of signed up Etihak, and you kind of really helped them from a potential disaster, because those are the kind of stories which kind of bring up the real value. Because as you rightly mentioned, many a times people come to hear about a hacking after the event has happened and after there's a lot of era, and I'm sure someone up the value chain would have said, oh, I wish someone had told me the importance of
testing, right? Yeah, so of course I cannot share like specific details, it's very confidential, but that's the usual case, right? The usual case that you know about cybersecurity after you have been hacked, and that has been like an accident. And usually it's too late for testing at that phase. Of course, you need to recover everything, and now you should think about testing. But yeah, it has been and I wanted to say that has been the most difficult thing to do working at business in cybersecurity, is that it's very easy for you to know what was the cost of an hack. It's very difficult to know what are you preventing, okay? Because it's like when you do like an insurance for a house, right? Like if anything happens, the insurance will not be there will not be return on investment, right? But if something happens, there will be. So I cannot, like, it's difficult for us to say like we prevented this from happening. But yeah, we found like usually the process is very simple, is that you just go to etihak.com, you sign up, okay? We have a free trial for 1 month, so feel free to know all your vulnerabilities already. And then we will deliver all these vulnerabilities in reports to you, right? And of course, there was some companies, for example, I can tell you that there is a CVE, which is a common vulnerability exposure, that has been that allows you to send emails to organization and allow us to basically increase the probability of phishing and steal data from organizations. And we have been finding that a lot, right? Also in GitLab, for example, there is a lot of companies that use GitLab and GitHub for saving their code, right? And we have been having vulnerabilities that allow us, for example, to steal all the intellectual property of an organization, for example, right? We have had vulnerabilities that allowed us, for example, to have access to a lot of servers and a lot of hosts that could allow us to basically, for example, appropriate us from from them, right? So it's usually still data, still intellectual property, sending emails, or lock databases, still all databases, so this kind of things that we prevent. Or for example, attacks that would stop your operations from happening, right? So that works a lot. that is very common with ransomware attacks. So
Right.
that they lock all your databases, or they basically encrypt all your data, so that stops a company from operating. And imagine if you are like getting a revenue of, I don't know, 100K per week or per month. If you don't work for 1 week, that is a big chunk of money, right, that you lose. So that's the type of attacks that we prevent.
In fact, while you were saying it, just occurred to me that the problem of cybersecurity or what the work you're doing is similar to, let's say, a vaccination drive, right? So let's say there is a general understanding that there's some kind of a disease or some kind of a threat out there. So let's all get vaccinated. And when lots of people get vaccinated beyond a certain critical point, of course there's no danger of that disease or area. And then people say, oh, where's the where's the infection, because everyone was scaring us into getting the vaccines. Specifically, I'm referring to the whole COVID thing, because we're kind of questioning the need for vaccine. But the point is, because so many people took the vaccines, the infection rate came down. So it is interesting. It's similar to that. So another area which I just wanted to check with you is, when you talk of ethical hacking, is it only related with the web or websites, or is it also beyond website, or it could be also, let's say, in connected cars, or it could be in drones or robotics or IoT?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So every system is susceptible to an attack, right? I would say that even every person, right, like even a human can be vulnerable, right? That's so. For you to protect an organization, you need to protect way more than the web. Of course, that we are very focused on the web right now in terms of our automation. So our automatic solution is very, very powerful right now for web assets. But for the manual testing, we do a little bit everything. For example, we are working with airports to ensure their security. So basically, we test airports in terms of physical as well. So we go there physical to the infrastructure. We try to bypass systems. We try to bypass security guards, right? So this is all vulnerabilities. In terms of IoT, in terms of robotics, of course, like I think, I don't know if you know, but one of the biggest warfares that was in between Iran and USA and Israel, right, was because of one 0 day that was in the SCADA systems in the Stuxnet, right? So from there, that was, I think it was the first time that the world got to know that a digital vulnerability could be used as basically a weapon, right? That all these things started like to go a little bit more interesting for the governments and for the defense departments, right? But the idea is like, that case, it was a SCADA system, it was a hardware that allowed that not allowed the Iranians to basically produce radioactive material, right? So all these small systems that we put in our home, IoT devices, smart home devices, right? All of these, they could be susceptible to an attack, of course.
Yeah. So another very interesting point, and so one thing is, when we talk of security, one is the whole connected security. But I also read somewhere that there's another aspect which hackers utilize to get into a system, which is social engineering. So let's say, someone calls a bank landline, and their call center, and says that, hey, this is my card number and this is my date of birth, and I've lost access to my bank account. Could you help me get that? Now, this is not a connected thing, but it's more of a social engineering aspect. So do you also kind of advise companies on how to secure their workflows in such areas?
Yeah, completely. So as I was telling you, like, people are vulnerable, right? So and phishing, social engineering is still like one of the major doors to attacks, right? So it's very like, and you can try to bypass people like that. Like, for example, what I was telling you, like how to bypass security guards in an airport or in an event. Like, you basically, if you dress a yellow jacket, everyone will think about that you work there, right? So that's this kind of things that, like, if you call someone, if you say that you are working for XYZ company and you need their contact, and then you use that contacts to whatever. So right, social media is very exposure for that. That's why people need to be very careful with privacy in social media, because right now we can have every information that we want from anyone. So yeah, I think it's that's a topic that's very difficult to protect, to prevent. I would say that the more efficient way of preventing cyber attacks due to social engineering is education, right? It's like you need to give education to your people, to organizations, to your and it's a continuous process, and it's a very difficult process, right? To basically literate all these people about digital health and digital security. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, George. This really gave a really great perspective, and I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. Please subscribe, share, and like this podcast, available on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you access your podcast. Bye for now. Talk to you soon.